Here we go, Career Lab Wednesday. Welcome, everybody. I am just getting started here. For those of you who have joined in before, you know that I like taking any questions career related. You don't have to try to stay on topic with what I'm talking about. There's a few ways you can engage. You can jump in directly on Zoom. I love it when you do that because I get to talk one-on-one with you. And um, oh, fantastic. Here we go. So you can do that, but do know that this is being live streamed. This is being live streamed to YouTube and LinkedIn Live. So if you want to remain anonymous, then just let me know. You can put your questions in the chat, or you can come off mute and just say it. And if you are viewing in through LinkedIn or YouTube, you can type your questions into the comment section. And again, you don't have to stay on the topic. Totally fine for you not to stay on the topic I have lined up. Fair warning, I will probably tie it back to emotional intelligence because that is my expertise. So I tend to do that. But in the way that I approach career development is that your career, the work that you're doing, the interactions that you are having are ways for you to develop, for you to become who you can become. So all the challenges are growth opportunities. And you get to sort things out and get to know yourself better and learn how to become a more impactful communicator. And it helps you be who you want to be. And so there's all kinds of feedback that you get in the workspace. So that's the context of how I approach working with people in your career. And again, you're welcome to ask any questions. You can do that in the LinkedIn comment section or on YouTube comments, or you can dive in here directly on the Zoom link, can come off mute and ask a question at any point or type into the chat. So today's topic is, I like this one. So when feedback fails, why is EQ the missing ingredient? So if you are leading a team, if you're managing, feedback's going to be part of your job. And in fact, if you are at entry level, feedback's going to be part of your job. Feedback is part of working, part of existing together. A core thing that I want to get across is that the idea that there are some people are leaders and others are not, I don't think that's helpful. Throw it out. Instead, use that we are all influencing all the time. I might have a position of authority, and so I'm going to have a different kind of influence from that space. But if I'm the boss, I want to be aware of the feedback that's coming to me from my staff. If I'm managing a team, I want to be aware of the feedback that's coming from my team. And understanding that not everybody is going to communicate the way that I communicate. There's all different ways that feedback's going to be coming back to me. So what does this have to do with emotional intelligence, and why does feedback fail when EQ, emotional intelligence, is the missing ingredient? So emotions precede thoughts. Emotions happen before thoughts do. And if I'm unwilling to feel, let's say, some anxiety or some hurt, then I'm not going to be available to hear the feedback. So I can know that about myself, and I can assume that about other people. That they may I could give accurate communications to them about, something that didn't work or something I want them to do better. Um, but if if they are not able to be present with some of the fear and some of the hurt that may happen in that communication, they're not going to be able to process that feedback as clearly. So my job as a leader then is to as an authority figure in a lot of ways is to communicate the expectation clearly and lead by example. And I can make it easier for people to receive feedback when I show that I am open to receiving feedback and I show how I take it in. My one story I have about this from years ago that I think is good is when I was hiring people, and just starting. One of the things I told them was, "Look, I'm hiring you because I think you are better at this than I am, and I know that I'm not doing things as well as I could do them, and I know that my systems are not the best." And so I want you to tell me what I'm doing wrong. I want you to tell me what's wrong here. And I want you to do it faster than you may be comfortable with. Because at a certain point, you'll kind of get enculturated and you won't see things with the clear eyes of a new hire. And I said, here's some of the problem points. We talked it through. And I showed that I was open to feedback and that I would listen to things that were uncomfortable. And I said, you can tell me that some of the things I've set up are stupid. I will listen to you. And so that's a really great way to model it, is to first of all, communicate the expectation that you have clearly to your team, and then give them some examples of how you do that, of how you as an individual receive feedback. I say, oh yeah, my feelings might be a little hurt, and that's okay. And so right there, you're signaling to them that this is the culture. This is, or and if even if you're not in that kind of role, but you could be doing this just one on one. This is the how I'm setting up this agreement with you. So it's not just talking about the facts. It's also talking about feelings, about communicating my feelings. So again, how this might play out in the meeting is, um, so I'm working with somebody in sales right now, and they're seeing that they are losing a lot, in that they're not the store is not in as good of shape as it could be, and they're identifying why that's happening, why customers are going elsewhere. And so they're looking at the facts of it. But my client is making a point of saying things like, "Whoa, oh, that hurts. Looking at these numbers, oh man, yeah, that hurt when, this customer went over to this other place. Oh, that pisses me off." They're in an environment where they can say that kind of thing. And so they're owning the emotional part of it, and then seeing the team, it allows them to access their feelings about it and to motivate themselves instead of trying to drag them along. And so emotional intelligence, it's often the missing bridge between what somebody's saying and what another person is hearing. Another client, oh, this one cracks me up. He would be in charge because he was a really smart guy, and he understood all the details of some big plans that were being implemented. So there would be times where he'd be speaking to hundreds of people in the company. And he would then spend hours afterwards answering questions. People have all kinds of questions. And he was like, geez, like, what is off here? I gave them the data. This is all logical. I know it makes sense. And yet, like, it's as if nothing I said landed for anybody. As if, like, am I going insane here? What is this? But why is it that I think I put together a good presentation and then I talk for, 45 minutes to an hour, and then people have all these questions, but I already said this stuff. And once we started working together and he started training himself to be more present with his feelings, he realized that when he would be speaking in front of hundreds of people, that he pretty much disassociated. So he would just stay to the points and he could do it. But he was terrified. He was afraid of being in front of that many people. And he would, have all kinds of self-criticisms come up that he had been unconscious to. But once he started seeing that, he was like, wow, yeah, like I'm really hard on myself when I'm speaking in front of this many people. And then I'm criticizing myself internally because it's like none of them understood what I talked about. And then I'm also criticizing them because like, geez, these bunch of idiots that are like, how did we hire these people? And so he's becoming more aware of this and becoming more aware of, oh man, I'm so afraid, and I'm afraid that they're not going to get it. I'm afraid that I don't belong, and I'm afraid of all these things as he started to be present with the fears of being in front of a bunch of people and fears about how the company's doing, fears about some of the risks that as he allowed the fear to be in his body and he stopped trying to talk over the fear in his communications, he actually slowed down and started saying things like, here's my concerns about the numbers that we're looking at about and I'm afraid that you're not going to understand what I'm talking. He started owning the fears as he was talking to the company. Lo and behold, everyone started understanding him. There was not nearly as many questions. And when people did ask questions, they were more targeted and efficient. And he was able to have the sense that, oh, I did a good job in communicating. They understood, and now they're asking questions that are actually really good questions and helping me think some things through that I hadn't quite thought through. And now we're having a conversation, and I'm not just dictating an agenda to them. Okay, so I think that's a fantastic example of where emotional intelligence is the missing factor when people are not receiving feedback. It requires the person delivering the feedback to be aware of what's happening in their body. What are they afraid of? What are they hurt about? And that will allow them to communicate the feedback effectively. It's not just a transactional thing. And it's a really important point here is that, again, I said earlier, I'm going to address it again, which is that as if you are the authority figure, it's going to be way more effective for you to model the behavior that you want. And let people know that they can take risks with you. Because then when somebody feels afraid and thinks, okay, wait, I'm going to get feedback now, and it's going to be about, what a horrible person I am and that I can't do things right, their defenses go up and they may nod and smile in compliance, but the feedback's not actually getting in. They're just gritting to get through it. They're just doing whatever they're, you know, disassociating, so fleeing, or they are fawning, or you're just freezing and again getting through it, but the feedback's not coming in. It may actually be a success for them to start to fight some. Say, wait a minute. No, I disagree with this feedback. That could actually be an indication that a relationship is developing. So I hope that that's landing for you. Please, 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 feel free to ask any questions that are emerging about this topic or any questions that you might have about where you're at in your career. Anything from resume, interviewing, happiness, your purpose in your career. What are you getting out of the work that you're doing? You're welcome to ask any question that you want about your career. So again, I think point number 2 I want to make. Point 1, feedback isn't just about the facts, it's about feelings. Point 2 is, logic-based feedback can often backfire. It can assume that people are in a receptive, rational state. And when in reality, we're not, there's all kinds of ways that every person I've ever met, myself included, we're not rational. We're not rational human beings. We have a ton of emotions. And I think that our emotions are rational. So I don't quite agree with the statement that we're not rational, but we're not rational in the way that we think we are. A wonderful example of this was research done at the Max Planck Institute. And what it showed is that we make a decision 6 to 12 seconds before we're conscious that we make a decision, which is really freaky when you think about the impetus, right? Something may not have even happened yet. And I've already decided how I'm going to respond to the thing that hasn't happened yet. That is some freaky stuff about reality. So then what happens then is when I make a decision, I've already made it and I'm already acting on it. And then the cognitive stuff that happens, the thoughts that are happening are me justifying the decision that I've already made. So if somebody is not in a receptive state, it doesn't matter what you're telling them. You've got to first get emotionally in the same space, on the same page with them. If you're not doing that, you're wasting your time. So another point is the role of emotional safety and feedback. So it's not about avoiding hard truths. It's about building enough trust so hard truths can land. So again, the first example I gave of I'm bringing on new hires and I'm establishing that there's going to be hard feedback by saying, I want to hear the things that I'm doing that are stupid. I want you to be very direct with me about what's not working. I'm going to take that kind of feedback. And then as we are working things out, I will deliver that same kind of direct feedback to you. I'll tell you what is not going to happen. If you bring an idea in and it's just where it's not the time for it, I'll tell you that directly. And I want you, if you really think it's important, then I'm going to want you to fight for it. and put together a one pager on it. And so establishing that up front is really important. That will help create the safety, because there's the guidelines for what's expected. And so when people are when people know what's expected, and they know that they can be assuming that they're going to be getting difficult feedback, and that that's okay, then you can really work with it. And you want to have these conversations early too, because you can start to pick up on when someone's not going to be open to that. You can start to pick up if you hire somebody, or you're in the process of hiring, and it's becoming clear that they're not, like, they're just being compliant, that it's just like they're just wanting the job, they're nodding through things, but then you can see that they're not demonstrating what you're asking for, and you bring it up with them, and that's not changing. There's not a lot you can do with that. So you want to find that out early on. And most people want to learn and grow. Most people are willing to be challenged. And you can do things like give positive attention, give affirmation on what you see is working well, and then say what you want on top of it. I see you're doing this really well. I want more of that. And here's how I want it to look. That's a great way to give feedback. Because you're criticizing somebody and saying, here's what you're doing wrong. Some people will work with that and will go, oh, great, thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. Yep, you're right. That doesn't work well. Here's what I'm going to do. Great. And then some people will not take that criticism the same way. Some people will take that criticism as a personal thing about themselves, that they're horrible. And you might have to kind of, I don't know, put more effort into it than you really want to. So telling them what you want. Here's what you're really good at. I see you're doing great with this. I want more of this. And how do you see yourself achieving that? And that right there, how do you see yourself achieving that? That's you owning, allowing yourself to be with your fear. So many people micromanage and are not conscious that they're micromanaging. And learning to stay present with my fear and asking an employee, or asking somebody on a team, asking, for me, it's my clients, asking a client, well, how do you see yourself achieving that? Here's the goal that I see you've identified. I see you have put these two pieces together. I'm getting the sense that you think something's missing. What's missing? And so I'm sitting with my own anxiety. I'm being present with my fear, and that is allowing them to think creatively, or not allowing them to, that's not quite right, but is facilitating it. It's creating a space where they're going to have a better shot at thinking creatively. So you want to invest in the people and help them understand that your feedback is an investment in them, and that you are building a relationship with them, and that if conflict comes up, if there's disagreements, that it's about the relationship. So again, I'll say, oh wow, I'm coming up on half an hour already. Fantastic. Apparently I like talking about this. So if you have any questions, please jump in and ask a question. You can ask it in the comment section. You can ask it here on Zoom. You can throw it in the chat. Um, as you're thinking about questions, I've got a question for you. So think about a time when feedback changed you. Think about time when somebody said something to you and it really landed. You really felt it and absorbed it. And what made it land? What was it about the feedback or about the relationship that had you able to recognize something important to change, to work on changing? What was it about the feedback that changed you? What was it that made it land? You know, I'm thinking of one for myself of where somebody said to me, George, it seems like you don't really believe that you matter. And it seems like you do a lot of extra work in trying to manage things to create some kind of mattering for yourself. And I want you to be able to be more efficient. And I want you to be able to not throw yourself under the bus when you're creating an outcome that you want. That hurt to hear, but I also could see that I wanted what they wanted for me, and I could see the ways that I would overcomplicate stuff. So I'd love to hear any examples. You type it into the comment section or come off mute and share any examples of time when feedback changed you and what made it land. Oh, I didn't say what made it land for me though. It was what made it land was that they wanted it for me. Like I could I felt hurt and joy because I felt the joy that they wanted something positive for me. And I could get that. I want good things for people. It's painful to watch somebody suffer unnecessarily. And I think another thing that made it land for me was that it was clear that it was my choice about how I did it, my choice to do it. It was not something anybody else could do for me. It made me think of that movie clip from Any Given Sunday where Al Pacino's in the locker room giving that coach speech that's so good, and he says, you know, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. That was empowering to the team. He was mutual with the team. All right, another question is, what's one piece of feedback you wish you had been delivered differently? Either feedback that you gave or feedback that somebody gave to you that you wished had been different. And I can think of one and one that I've heard from a lot of clients, which is referred to as the shit sandwich, which is compliment, then feedback or criticism, and then compliment. Well, George, you're really good at your warmth is good with people. But you're not always the most organized. You need to work on your organization. And, you're a real go-getter. And I'm just like, the way you delivered that criticism in between the two positives, the two affirmations, like just kind of muddies it all up. Just tell me the freaking, painful criticism. I don't that and I'm like, be present with your hurt, be present with your fear as you're delivering valuable criticisms to me. You know, like it's kind of demeaning to me to think that I can't handle hearing that I'm disorganized. Like, huh, that you have to baby me to with some, affirmations in the process of delivering a valuable criticism. That's not that empowering. Just tell me the thing. So that's one that comes to mind for me of where I wish feedback had been delivered differently. Well, I'm going to start wrapping up here. Please let me know if you have any questions. Any questions, any comments, you want to share ways that feedback landed for you, please do. Um, there's a few ways you can engage with me. Of course, I'm here almost every Wednesday on LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, and you can also go to my website and do the personality assessment that shows you primarily what's important about this one is how to engage with other personality styles to really understand, to quickly assess other personality types from you and know, okay, I'm talking to somebody who's different than me, and I can tweak my communication so that they hear me better. That's the point of this one. So there's a link to that. Take a look at that. And you can also, oh, wait. I'm getting that there's a question. Let me know what the question is. Yeah. You can come off mute or type it. Oh my gosh. I apologize. Oh, geez, Louise. I'm on a new device. I've had this happen all week. Ugh. So these questions were not showing up in my chat. I apologize, everybody, for not seeing these sooner. Okay, Gregory. Well, now I'm diving in on this. I was about ready to wrap, but we got more time. Let's go. First question. How can you stop yourself from being defensive when you're getting feedback? Oh, good question. Good question. Okay. So right there, even in that question is we can start to pick that apart. How to stop yourself from being defensive when you're getting feedback. Well, first step is to recognize that I'm being defensive and to not even try to stop myself. Because if I'm like, oh, you got to stop yourself from being defensive, I'm backing myself into more of a corner. So to begin with, I'm just going to allow that I'm being defensive. I'm going to notice how I'm being defensive. Then I'm going to assess what the feelings are that I'm defending against. I'm getting feedback and I don't want to hear it. I'm defending against this feedback. And what are the feelings? Oh, okay, I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling hurt. I'm feeling angry about this feedback. Okay, right there, that now allows me to be more present with the feedback. I'm feeling hurt, angry, and afraid. Now I can assess what's going on with those feelings. Oh man, there's such a good clip of this. I wish I had my other device that I could pull this stuff up on easily. It's a hilarious clip. I forget what the show was, but um basically the secretary at a doctor's office is talking to a patient about what's going on in the boss's life and like his relationship issues that the secretary happens to be able to know about because you can pick up on things coming in on phone calls and so the boss walks in and realizes and he says like Terry, are you talking to my clients about my personal life? And she says, "Stop yelling at me." He's like, "Wait, I'm not yelling at you." "Yes, you are." And so right there, you can, if you allow yourself to be with the fact that you're being defensive, and then look at what the feelings are. So in that case, she's feeling afraid, and she's actually the one then who's kind of yelling, stop yelling at me." She has the raised voice. So she's feeling hurt, afraid, and angry. And then she can start to recognize, oh, wait, I'm getting feedback and I'm defending against what here? Huh. My boss isn't actually yelling at me. Oh, I'm defending against how my dad used to yell at me as a kid. I'd make a mistake and I would just get berated and all kinds of things. It was like I made one mistake and then my dad would blamed me for the 20 things that went wrong for him that day. Okay, got it. Huh, that's not actually what my boss said. My boss just said asked me a question actually. Huh. Okay. Okay, so that's one pathway in. There's all kinds of ways to begin working to be less defensive, but a key thing that anybody can start doing at any time is to be more present with your emotions, to choose to feel more of the fear, hurt, anger, sadness, and joy that are happening all the time in life. Because when I'm defending, I am defending against feeling. There might be other things I'm defending against too, but a primary thing is I don't want to feel hurt. I don't want to feel angry. I'm afraid if I feel angry, it's going to go badly for me. I'm afraid if I feel hurt, everyone's just going to take advantage of me feeling hurt. And I don't want to show that I'm afraid because I think something's wrong with me if I'm afraid. And true for a lot of guys, you know. And so that's the primary thing. Okay, now I've got more questions in here that I was missing. So I received feedback that made me realize nothing I did was done right in my boss's mind. Wow. However, the whole department, consisting of 8 other departments, all valued my support and were giving me awards. Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna pull out of those comments there of I received feedback that made me realize nothing I did was done right in my boss's mind. Yet the whole department, 8 other departments, all valued my support and were giving awards. Now I don't I'm just gonna make an assumption here. Maybe your boss was threatened by you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And so and maybe your boss was picking up on the ways that you were supporting the other departments as you undercutting your boss. And so the feedback that you were getting from your boss was, hey, the way you're going about these relationships is not working for me. I'm scared. I'm scared like you're going around me and making me look bad. And
Wouldn't
so
that look better?
what's that?
Wouldn't that make them look better when I'm being rewarded by the whole department? I mean, my boss did come in after me, so. But I definitely picked up on this person's threatened by me, and I was like, I got to get out of here. But I was willing to be abused and stay.
Okay. But so then there's the um when your boss is threatened by you, it's not going to work unless you can get it so that they're no longer threatened by you.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do, and it didn't, nothing I did worked. So,
What did you try?
just bowing down and saying, whatever they wanted to do, like, you want to do a training program differently. Great, great idea. Let's do it.
Did it work?
No, they basically they hired another person to take over. So then I was like, well, then what do you want me to do? So it's kind of like they had divvied out all of my responsibilities to new hires that I trained, and then I got laid off.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's because there was no salvaging it, but I don't know, I feel stupid for not, I mean, I was trying to take the criticism. I was getting defensive, but
What
I don't know
what
what I could have
criticism
done.
were you what criticism were you getting?
Oh, I'm remember one specific piece was the curriculums that I built were stupid.
Okay. And what was stupid about them?
I don't even know. I think I did. I was probably shut off because I was so angry that I couldn't come up with. That's why I'm like, how do you stop being so defensive so that you don't lose your brain and you can be intelligent with a question to find out more instead of being completely and totally hurt and angry and mad.
So did you go on the attack then and start saying, no, it's not stupid?
No, I was just the funny thing is I felt like they were coming at me like my mother and attacking me. So I
Uh-huh.
completely shut down and later on was like, okay, great idea. Let's do this. Whatever you want to do, in an
Okay.
email. But I shut down in that moment completely.
Oh, okay, okay. No, this is really helpful then. So what you would have wanted to do,
Was
or
being intelligent.
your strategy about it, would have been to you could have asked them what's stupid about it.
Yes.
You could have also said, um, I disagree. I have this level of experience, and these are the things that I've seen work so far. Help me understand what you see as stupid.
Yeah.
And but what I'm hearing is that would you reverted to your strategy when you were growing up, and you didn't say anything. And so
Nope.
then to them, they were like, oh, well, Dina is stupid. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Um,
Yeah.
um, that yeah, they are stupid or they are incompetent. Yeah, that was a bad plan.
Yeah. I see. I kind of validated their criticism by shutting down.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
so that's
I
actually
but that's
that's
the
go ahead.
well, that was the thing is I was angry. I wanted to like attack back, and I I was scared.
You wanted to attack back,
Yeah.
but it doesn't sound like you did.
No, I didn't. I got um I think my demeanor completely changed. I felt attacked. I felt like there was nothing I could do.
So yeah, so that's where that's in the drama of there's nothing I can do. I'm a victim to this, and it's going to
Yeah.
go bad. And then that's, that's where the limiting beliefs play out, and you create that as a reality. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And again, so now the first step is to be increasingly with the feelings.
Right. Being more aware of your feelings can help you be maintain your intelligence and
And
not just
integrate.
want to cuss at them out, you know?
No, but yeah, but it's also okay to want to cuss them out. You just don't actually do it in at work.
Yeah.
So there's this is a myth, but it's such a wonderful example that I'm going to share it anyway. So there's this idea that a baby rattlesnake is more poisonous, well, releases more of its venom than an adult rattlesnake because it hasn't learned how to manage it. So like a horse walks by a rattlesnake, and a grown rattlesnake knows it can just do a quick, a quick, um, not even bite, but just get a little bit of the venom in there, and the horse is like, whoa, and like runs away, and the horse is fine. Um, Baby rattlesnake can make the mistake of, oh my gosh, there's a giant horse, and then um, bites and clamps on and injects all the venom into the horse, and the horse falls over and dies on the snake, killing them both.
Yeah.
And so there's that fear that if you really unleashed your anger, that if you said something to your boss with any bit of aggression or any bit of anger, that you would just flood it all out there, and then you would be thrown out and you would be ended. They would finish you.
Totally.
So that's that's the fear. And that's a healthy fear. You had that fear for a reason. As a child, it was what was true. And so now the game is to recognize that that's no longer the case, and to begin expressing anger in places where, the horse isn't going to fall on you, so to speak, so that you learn how to integrate your anger and be effective with the anger in communications, so that you could know that in a meeting with your boss who is criticizing you and saying, this is a stupid plan you put together, then you would be able to just let out a little bit of the anger and say, oh, this is stupid, huh? I guess I guess my stupid plans that have helped, such and such company, etc., grow this way and help this team develop in that way. I, I, I guess I've just been incredibly lucky then, if
Yeah.
my plan is so stupid. And you get to say it in a way where you have this self-respect, but there's just that little bit of anger that's integrated there.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, you're going to have to, what you can do is allow yourself to be with that anger, and consciously choose to feel it more in your body. And that will help you with the next times that you're receiving feedback, to even know that you're not going to cave, to be able to say to myself, um, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. You're not going to say it out loud, but just internally, oh, okay, clearly this person is scared and they're taking it out on me, and they don't know what they're doing either. All right, that's fine. I can work with that. Okay, cool. I'm so glad you jumped in here, and I'm so glad I saw that. Jane, thanks for messaging me directly. I was missing the everybody chat. Um, so again, to wrap that up is being present with feelings in getting feedback is so important. We just heard an example of where the feedback was delivered. Um, and it, first of all, I don't think the feedback was accurate. Um, and the person receiving the feedback then because they didn't know how to be with the feelings of fear, hurt, and anger inside them, they they just sought to get out of harm's way and missed out on an opportunity, missed out on the very least growing themselves and growing more self-respect. And sometimes you can, do make some moves that are self-respecting, and you may still be expelled from the job, and it will be painful, but you can do it in a way that is self-respecting, and it will require being present with all of the feelings. So fantastic example. I'm so glad you shared that. And I think we got a question or a comment here. My manager has done a great job leading with empathy and calling out my strengths while gently acknowledging what I could do better. This way, I know it's coming from a place of caring and support. Okay, good to hear. Yeah, yeah. You got a manager that calls out the strengths and then acknowledges what you could do better. That sounds like a great tactic. I'm glad to hear that that's working for you. And you know that it's coming from a place of caring and support, that they want what's best for you. Well, cool. Well, good stuff. So again, thank you so much for joining in today. Um, I'll be back. I'm here almost every Wednesday, noon to 1 Central Time. And reminder, you can set up a one-to-one with me if you want. Oftentimes, people can get some clarity in their career path that they're grateful for in that. And if not, we can look at what a coaching relationship might look like. I do group classes. What do I got right now? I'm so happy, right? I'm such a happy camper right now. I've got five group coaching classes that I'm leading. It's great. I do a lot of that. But I love doing one-on-one. And um, so if that's something of interest to you, check it out. Check out my website. I'm continuing to put more things on there, more tools and resources for people. And join me again next week. Be well, and be more aware of your feelings. The more that you are aware of your feelings, the better you will be at giving feedback, and the better you will be at receiving feedback. Many blessings, everybody.